Welcome to Back to School Night, everyone. I'm Mrs. Kolpakoff, and this is a pre-recorded presentation of the slideshow that I'm getting ready to give here in a couple of hours. But if you were unable to make it this evening, go ahead and watch all the way through. If you did come to Back to School Night, I guess you will watch it if you want to. If you really want to watch the slideshow again, or if you missed some information or just want to review it, that's what this is for. But if you were at Back to School Night, there's no need to rewatch this. There's no new information. So there's my contact information if you ever need to get a hold of me. Email is still the best way. Now, this is the district's mission, but it is also something that I'm really taking into heart when it comes to distance learning. The goal is that all students realize their greatest potential. And just because we have distance learning and I'm teaching through a camera doesn't mean that these goals don't apply any longer. I'm still going to be doing my best to give your student high quality classroom instruction. They are going to be taking some assessments, tests, and quizzes that will help inform me on their ability level and what they need to get better. Their wellness, that includes social and emotional learning, which I will be involving into our weekly routine to help them cope with maybe some things that might be going on due to the distance learning, and hopefully give them some skills that will help them through this. But also, the district is still continuing to do vision and hearing screeners, mostly for second and fifth graders. But if there are any issues, we can still recommend that students have screening as well. And those would be done in person from what I understand. The district is still doing those. And finally, last but not least, certainly not least this time around, is the Parent and Family Communication Partnership. Now more than ever, our communication and our partnership is tremendously important. It was always important in the past, but now I feel like I have co-teachers in each household, and I want to make sure we're always on the same page and that our methods of communication and our avenues of communication are always open. All right. So Distance Learning 2.0, I called it that because I'm hoping it is going to be markedly different than the experience that you had in the spring. First of all, they have their books and supplies, so already we're off to a better start. There will be more paper and pencil than in the past. It won't just be all electronic. There's more direct instruction. Your child is going to be logged in from basically 8 until about 2 o'clock. So there's more direct instruction from the teacher. It's not just a list of assignments they have to complete on their own. There will be some independent work, just not as much. It would be equitable to what we would have if we were in the classroom setting, because I would be rotating in small groups in the classroom setting, and I'm going to be doing the same thing in distance learning. Fourth graders are very flexible, they're very capable, they're very technologically savvy, and kids will rise to the occasion when you have high expectations. I have some good news about Chromebooks. I just found out within this past hour that we are going to have a Chromebook distribution day on Thursday and Friday. All students need their own device. All students need their own device. There will be, they're going to be logged into their classroom the majority of the day, so siblings cannot share a computer when they're expected to be in attendance with their own Zoom meeting. Chromebooks are better than iPads. If your student has been using an iPad, get them a Chromebook from the school so that they can do some of the assignments in type. It's a lot more user-friendly. And I'm hoping to be the main supporter for your student and the main teacher. I know there's a lot of worry and anxiety that you have to homeschool your child. This is not going to be the case, I hope. My goal is to make sure that I am teaching your student in a way that they are able to complete their independent work on their own, or I could have a Zoom call with just the two of us, or a Zoom call with a small group so that I can teach your child. Don't worry about having to be the main teacher for your child. With that said, you will probably be the main support of technology hiccups. The district does have a hotline and parents can call if you can't figure things out. But sometimes Zoom calls get dropped or the internet acts weird. This morning it was acting very weird at my house for my two children, and I understand the difficulties that can pose. So, very sympathetic from a parent point of view in terms of technology issues and how things can get kind of messy. But we're going to take it slowly, and not to worry if you're a little late in the beginning signing into Zoom, or if you get dropped out or anything like that. The most important thing is going to be communication. So if there's a technology issue, please let me know. Okay, next slide. Here's the dates and times for the Chromebook checkout. So Thursday, Friday, the 20th and 21st, between 8:30 and 10 o'clock a.m. You'll just drive through the parking lot like you did for the first distribution day with their supplies, and you can check out a Chromebook for your child. All right, we've got two different schedules. There's a Monday schedule and then a Tuesday through Friday schedule. They're just about the same with a little bit of differences in timing. All days they're going to have a 20-minute break, kind of like a recess, and they will have a lunch break. During those breaks, please have your student away from the screen, away from a phone, away from video games. Give their eyes a break from that. Go into the bathroom, getting a drink of water, getting a snack or your lunch or whatever. And then we're going to have the students stay logged into Zoom during the break. But I'm just going to have like a screensaver on the screensaver with like a timer countdown so you know how much more time you have on that break. But I do want them to be away from the screen just to give their little brains and eyes a screen time break. Now I'll need that too. All right. So dismissal on Monday is at 1:40. Tuesday through Friday dismissal is 15 minutes later. Their lunchtime is the same, but the break time is a little bit different. It's a little bit later on Tuesday through Friday's schedule. All right. Google Classroom. There's already 16 students that have logged in successfully into Google Classroom. But if you haven't done so already, please watch the Getting Started video that I sent out earlier this week and follow those steps so that your child can get logged in through Google Classroom. That's where I'm going to be posting the Zoom link for the first day of school. It's where I'll be posting their assignments and other announcements. So please have your child join before the first day of school. If you have any issues with that, please don't hesitate to contact me. We're going to be using Zoom, but the problem with Zoom is that everybody's using Zoom. So there's been a lot of hiccups with Zoom freezing or having glitches. So we might be switching to Google Meet. Of course, I'd let your student know when that happens, when and if that does happen, and how to log into Google Meet and how to use that as well. Zoom has a lot more bells and whistles than Google Meet does, but it's a great backup, and we might use that too. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Oh, it's not going. Perfect example of glitches. There we go. All right, speaking of Zoom, I will be going through some technology lessons with your student, and part of that will include digital responsibility and being a good digital student. So making sure things are charged, that they're on time, that they are sitting in front of their camera screen, making sure their microphone works, and that they participate in our activities, and being respectful of everyone else in our Zoom meeting, and just making sure that they are as focused as they would be if they were in class. Here's our virtual classroom. I spent way too much time creating this, but it was kind of fun, and I think it's a good spot to have kind of a catch-all of everything that they might need in terms of links. So when they hover their mouse or their cursor over different icons, if nothing shows up, that means there's not a link to that particular picture. But if they are somewhere and they see this little white pointer finger, there is a link there. Now there's some practice things like multiplication, there's some fun things like a little Garfield cartoon, and then there's going to be some links that will be used often. I will have the Zoom link for the first day of school right here. They can click on that. I haven't put it in there yet, that's why the pointer finger didn't show up, but it will be there. The Zoom link will also be in their Google Classroom as well. Class Dojo. A lot of you have already signed up for Class Dojo. The directions on how to do that are in the yellow parent folder that I sent home on Monday. And it's also in the link in the back to school night and welcome slide that I sent out. You can just click that link right in there and it should walk you through the steps. The great thing about Class Dojo is that many family members can sign up and be part of our Class Dojo account. So if you have family members, grandparents, a tutor, or someone else that's going to be responsible for helping your child through distance learning, they can sign up as well. It works a lot like social media, so I'll be making posts and putting pictures, dropping some links in there as well. Oh, and Class Dojo, it's only visible for our class. No one else can see it. So here are some tips for making sure that your child has a successful distance learning experience from your home. Please make sure they have a quiet place for them to go to school, either a desk or even the kitchen table. If they are in a spot where there are multiple siblings, having headphones is a good idea so they're not hearing the other person's class. That can be kind of a challenge. Now, since we are going to be on Zoom calls for the majority of the day, we have to be cognizant of what is behind us. So I kind of sat here on purpose so you can see, I've got, let's see, there's ESPN going on in the background over there. But all I have to do is kind of turn my computer just a little bit. That way, there's nothing else behind me. If possible, having a blank background, or you can have the virtual backgrounds as well. I will ask that the students do have their cameras on so I can tell that they are engaged. So just be aware of what's behind your student while they are learning. And that includes parents too. If you can see yourself in the camera, everyone else in the class can see you too. So just be aware of that. Okay, please also make sure that you review their daily agenda. We will be writing learning goals and activities in that agenda at the end of every day. Another way you can make sure that your student is doing all that they're supposed to, you can check Synergy and see their grades. And all the assignments that will be due. Then Google Classroom also has the ability on the left-hand side of your child's screen, there's an area that says upcoming assignments, or maybe it just says upcoming. And you can click view all, and there you can see all the assignments, if there is a due date, what time it's due, if it's late, if it's missing, or if it's turned in. So just checking into your students' Google Classroom and clicking right there. It's on the stream, I believe. It's on the left-hand side. Just click view all and you can see what's upcoming and what's going to be due. And then talk with your kid about what we were doing. Ask them about the subjects that we were learning: reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. Having them talk about it with you is a great way to make sure that they are engaged and learning something. And this is what we're going to be learning. All of our standards remain the same, even with distance learning. In the spring, it was a lot of review, but we are going to be going into new curricular standards. And so after I get a good assessment of where your child is in their learning ability and what I need to review, then I'm going to be planning the new standards that they're going to be learning. And there is a nice list. I'm not going to read them all for you. You can read them for yourselves of everything that we're going to be learning this fourth grade year. PE is still going to be weekly, and the schedules will kind of vary throughout the time, but they will have PE with Miss Wynn. And they will eventually have some computer activities with Mr. Baptista. Now, he's going to be acting more as a support to the students, not necessarily giving them more computer assignments, because let's face it, everything is a computer assignment just about. There will be some keyboarding assignments, and that will help them throughout this distance learning issue and really into the future and becoming a proficient typist. So I know he's going to have that along with some other supports that will help them with what they're doing in their distance learning classroom with me. We're going to have some field trips, albeit virtually. Sutter's Fort, Coloma, the California Museum, and we're working on a few others that are still to be determined. So we are still going to have some field trips, and we're trying our best to make sure it's as fun as possible for your child. And that was it. All right. Well, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop me an email or send a message. The biggest thing I want to make sure is that your child is logged in to Google Classroom. You have accessed Zoom. Everyone has their own device. And from there, we're just going to gradually learn together. We are going to get through this. And I'm here to take away any of your anxiety that you might have about having to teach your child at home. That's my job, and I love teaching. So even though it's in front of a computer screen and I'm going to have to get used to that, just please know that I will be trying my best, and I'm here for your kids. All right. I'll see you all later. Bye.